Welcome back, listeners, to Sandman Stories Presents, a folklore podcast where I read you to sleep or until the next story. I'm your host, Dustin. Today we are back in the book of Armenian folktales written down by A.G. Seklemian. In the first story, a man goes looking for luck and finds his answer in a lion's mouth. And in the second story, it pays to be kind and it costs to be stingy. Okay, let's begin. Story number 1. The Idiot. Once upon a time there was a man who inherited much wealth from his father. But he led such an irregular and unwise life that in a short time he had spent everything, even down to the last penny. Then he sat down, folded his arms upon his chest, and sighed as he thought of his unfortunate condition. His father's friends gathered around him to console him. One of them, an old and learned man, said to him, "Son, you have offended your luck, who has run away from you. You'd better go after your luck. Perhaps you can find it, and reconciling with it, become, as before, a fortunate man." The man set out at once and traveled the mountains and plains in search of his luck. One night he saw in his dreams that his luck was a human being like himself, who had fallen upon his face at the top of a high mountain, sighing and beating his breast all the time, just as he had done himself. The next morning he got up and continued his journey toward the mountain. On his way he met the enchanted lion, sitting upon a mound of earth beside the road. "Don't be afraid, human being. Proceed," said the lion. And when the man approached he said, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to find my luck," said the man. "Good," said the lion. "Your luck is very wise. Ask him the cure for my disease. I've been an invalid for 7 years. If you find the right remedy, I will reward you." "Very well," said the man, and he went on his way. Soon he came to a very beautiful orchard full of all kinds of fruits. He picked some of the fruits and began to eat, but lo, they were all bitter. Then the gardener came along and asked him where he was going. "I'm going to find my luck," said the man. "Please ask your luck," said the gardener. "What is the remedy for my orchard? I grafted my plants, but it was of no use. I cut down the old trees and planted new ones, but neither did any good. If your luck can devise some remedy, I will reward you beautifully." The man promised to ask his luck, and again went on his way. Soon he came to a magnificent palace situated in a garden as beautiful as paradise, whose sole inhabitant was a beautiful maiden. "What are you doing?" asked the maiden, seeing the man. "And why have you come?" The man told her his story. "You see," said the maiden, "I possess this splendid palace and countless wealth and property, but I have grief which grows in my heart day and night, and I spend my life sighing all the time. Please ask your luck for me, and if you bring me a device to make me happy, I promise I will reward you beautifully." The man promised, and went on his way until he came to the top of the mountain, where he saw his luck, who was flat on his face. He related to Luck his own unfortunate condition, and poured out all his grievances. Luck listened to him attentively and said, "Everything may yet be well, seeing that you have come so far in search of me." Then the man asked Luck the things that had been promised to ask, and received answers. "Now, why don't you come with me?" asked the man. "Go first," said Luck. "I'll come after you." The man returned, and on his way back, first he met the maiden, and said, "Your grief will disappear, and you shall be happy as soon as you marry a young man of your choice." Then he met the gardener, and said, "There is gold in the spring with whose waters you irrigate your orchard. The plants drink up particles of gold, which causes your fruits to be bitter. You must either irrigate your orchard with water of some other spring, or take the gold out of the current fountain, and then your fruit will be sweet." Then he came to the enchanted lion and told him how he had seen his luck, and the messages that he had brought to the maiden and the gardener. "And what present did the maiden give you?" asked the lion. The man answered, "She said that she had fallen in love with me, and proposed to marry me, but I refused." "And what reward did the gardener give you?" asked the lion. "He took the gold out of the spring," answered the man, and refining it, prepared a horseload of pure gold. He gave it all to me, but I refused, saying that I did not care to trouble myself by carrying such a heavy thing so far. "And what remedy did your luck devise for my ailment?" asked the lion. The man answered, "He said, 'The moment you devour an idiot's head, you shall be healed.'" The lion looked at the man in the face and said, "By heaven, I cannot find a greater idiot than you on the face of this earth." And striking at his head with his paw, he made one mouthful of it, and the idiot was dead. Remember the moral of this tale. Time never befriends a fool. The end. Okay, and story number 2. A Miserly Companion. 2 men were traveling together on their way to a distant city. Each had a bag of food to support him on the journey, which would last several days. They agreed to first eat the provisions of one man, and when that was finished, to consume that of the other, which they expected would be sufficient to last during their journey. But when the store of the first man was finished, the second man would not allow his companion to use his own bag, as they had previously agreed. "For heaven's sake, Jack," exclaimed the first man, "give me something to eat. If you will not give it in return for my bread, give it as charity. Otherwise I shall starve and die in this wilderness, while my family and children will be left paupers. Spare me, Jack, spare me." But it was impossible to persuade the second man, who refused, saying, "No, I will give you nothing, lest the bread should not be enough for us both. I will eat my own food and go. I don't care about you." Can a hungry man walk? The one who had the provision bag went ahead, leaving behind his starving companion. For a while the poor man walked, casting dust into his mouth and drinking water from every brook until sunset, when he came to a ruined mill. "Let me lodge in this ruined mill," he thought. "Heaven is merciful." There was nothing inside the ruined mill, except an old tambourine which hung from the wall. In order to not be torn apart by wild beasts, the man entered the grain holder of the mill and tried to sleep. At midnight, he saw a bear enter the mill and sit opposite the grain holder. Soon a wolf arrived and took a seat near the bear, and at last came a fox and sat next to the wolf. The wolf asked the bear, saying, "How is it with you, brother? How do you fill that great stomach of yours, when game is so scarce nowadays?" "I'm never in trouble because of scarcity of food," answered the bear. "I find plenty of vegetables in the neighborhood, which have delicious roots. When I am hungry, I dig some of these and appease my hunger." "This is good," thought the hungry man in his concealment. "And how is it with you, brother wolf?" asked the fox. "Do you ever succeed in satisfying your gluttonous appetite, now that every shepherd keeps a cursed dog?" "Oh, never mention that," answered the wolf, sighing deeply. "I have been planning all the time during these past 2 or 3 months to snatch some morsels from the flocks from the mayor of Greendale. But I never succeed in approaching the flock for the fear of the big black dog, who never leaves the sheep. I do not know why the doctors do not kill that cursed dog and bathe the king's son in its blood. This would at once heal him from the disease which has been tormenting him for so long that doctors have given up hope. By these means the poor lad would be cured, and the obstacle before me would be removed." "Good," thought the man to himself. "And how is it with you, brother fox?" asked the bear. "Are you getting along?" "Gramercy," said Renard. "Although I am not as strong as you are, yet heaven has given me wisdom and dexterity, and I have never been troubled by hunger. I have accumulated some wealth also. I have a jug full of gold hidden under yonder sycamore tree, and another under the threshold of this mill. I get the gold pieces out once a day, and take joy in playing with them. Then I put them into the jugs and hide them once more." "Very good," said the man to himself. The man took courage. His mind began to work. He suddenly took hold of the tambourine and began to play on it. Hearing this, the beasts ran away and disappeared in the twinkling of an eye. They thought a wedding procession was coming, and beasts are very much afraid of wedding processions. By this time, it was daybreak. The man came out of his concealment, took the 2 jugs full of gold, filled his pockets, and hid the remainder in another place. He dug the roots of which the bear had recommended and satisfied his hunger. He then asked the way to the village of Greendale and became a guest in the mayor's house. As he provided costly presents for both the mayor and the members of his family, they were all highly pleased with him. In the morning he heard the mayor whispering with the members of his family as to what present they could give him in return for his costly offerings. Thereupon the man said, "I have admired the black dog of your flock. I wish I could have one like it." "Since your desire is for that black dog," answered the mayor, "you may have it. We can easily find another dog for the flock." The man put a rope around the neck of the dog, and taking with him a skin bottle, withdrew to a lonely place, where he cut the toenail of the dog and caught its blood in the skin. Taking the dog's blood, he went to the city and presented himself to the king and said, "I am a doctor. I can heal your son." "If you can heal my son," said the king, "I will assure you the second place in the kingdom after my death. But if you do not heal him, I will cut off your head." "May your son himself enjoy your throne," said the man. "But if I do not heal him, my head is yours." The king consented, and the man took the invalid prince, who was very weak and upon his deathbed, to a room alone, where he applied the dog's blood all over the body, and then laid him to sleep. Towards the evening, the lad had perspired and become wet all over. The assumed doctor washed him once more and applied the dog's blood. He continued this treatment for 2 days, and on the 3rd day the lad was cured, his body being as sound as that of a newborn babe. The man took the prince to the king, who was so pleased that he presented the physician with a magnificent palace and abundant wealth. Not only the court but all the people of the country loved the man for his generous spirit. He sought and obtained the rest of the fox's treasure, which he had hidden, and caused his family to be brought to a new palace, where they lived a happy life, and praised heaven. But what became of his miserly companion, who had refused to give away a slice of bread? He reached his destination safely, but never attained success there, and was obliged to go from city to city, seeking work to earn a living. At last he came to the city where his fortunate companion lived, and seeing him enjoying a princely life, asked him how he attained it. The former comrade told him everything. Thereupon the man hastened to the ruined mill, with the expectation that he would also attain good luck, and he hid himself in the grain holder. The beasts again came to hold a meeting. "Mr. Chairman," said Renard to the bear, as soon as they came in, "before we commence our deliberations, we would better look carefully and see if there's a human nearby to hear us, because I've been robbed since our last meeting." They all got up to look around, and lo, there was the man in the grain holder. "Vile intruder!" exclaimed the fox, biting the man's legs madly. The bear gave him some violent blows on his head with his heavy paws, which made him fall senseless, and the wolf tore him to pieces. Thus ended the life of the miserly man. The end. Well, I really like story number 1. It goes along with the other stories where there's a chain of questions, and the wise person gives them the answers, and they all live happily ever after. Well, not so much for the lead character in that one. Also, it's interesting that idiot and moron and other words like that were used as medical terms not too long ago, and it really shows a shift in our society. And in the second story, I had to change the killing of the dog to just trimming the toenail. I'm a big animal lover, and killing a dog just for its blood just gave me some major icks. Plus, right now, we're going through our own thing where the oldest dog in our house, Radar, might be passing soon. So any dog death right now is not good for me. I can't do it. But I just wanted to say, Radar, you are the best boy, and I love you. Okay, and the podcast shout-out is to PTI, hosted by Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon. This has been a show that sustained my love of American sports while living abroad. Yes, my Lions get short shrift in the episodes, even when they come up with a stunning upset. But it is still fun to hear the two old guys go back and forth about sports and get some fun updates. And so if you like their show as much as I do, go and give them a like, a rating, and a review. And the listener shout-out is to Anchorage, Alaska. There are artifacts suggesting the habitation by the Lutik as early as 5,000 years ago in Anchorage. They were then replaced by the Dinaina, who were related to the Navajo, which call themselves the Dine, which means people. It was officially made a city in 1914, long after Seward made his folly of a purchase. With just under 300,000 people, it is the largest city in Alaska, but it is not the capital. It looks like a fun place to visit, and I will try to go there someday. It will have to be in summer, though. And to the Dinaina speakers, I say, Chin ageli dak kidyuk. Thank you very much, and that's how it happened.